Welcome back to an inside look at Ouachita Christian Eagle football. Thanks to Sonic North Monroe, located on 165 just south of the school. Also want to thank honeyholeshop.com for outfitting us to brave the elements in the broadcast booth and whatever else we may be doing in a boat or on a hike, but large array of outdoor wear that you can get at honeyholeshop.com. So the Eagles are coming off a big win versus the Tensall Panthers last week. It was homecoming week. The game honestly was not very competitive, but the story of the game was that several records were set during that game. Most points in school history, least yards allowed from scrimmage, most consecutive extra points, and most career punt return touchdowns. So it was kind of a historic night for the Eagles last Friday, and although there is a high level of care and precision when it comes to record keeping, all that secondary. What's important is we got the win. The starters only played the first quarter. It was homecoming week. The game wasn't overlooked, and in my opinion, it was kind of a conclusion to the first half of the season. And now it's all eyes on the game this week, Thursday night, as we're going to travel to Millhaven Road and take on the Ouachita Lions, arguably the biggest game on our schedule this year. One player that we all look forward to watching each week is senior running back and safety, number 11, Zach White. Zach's here with me. Zach, I appreciate you coming out and talking to us about OCS football, talking about you. You're our senior spotlight this week. So the first thing I want to say is I enjoy watching you wreak havoc on opposing defenses each week. It's pure entertainment, man. I love it. Sometimes we even laugh about it, you know, when you push players out of the way and just keep going. But I know that there's more to you than just the way that you run the football. So before we get into football, I want to talk a little baseball. I know that's kind of weird, but Zach, you've committed to play baseball at ULM next year. It gives all of us fans and people that love you and care about you a chance to go watch you after high school play, you know, for a local school. So what I want you to talk about for just a minute is how that process was and how that decision came about.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
And about baseball, it was really just, I was having fun just playing, growing up. And about 2 years ago, it started to get real serious. And just thinking about maybe I have a chance to go play in college. Maybe I could go to the next level. And it came that sophomore summer. Coming in, I talked to a few coaches before, but ULM offered me that sophomore summer, and I was thinking, I said, well, maybe I should just keep my options open, just not hurry up into a decision. And it felt like home. I went and watched a few games, and I already know a bunch of the guys on the team. And then last year, found out that I had the opportunity to play with my brother Barham on the team, and that's a big reason to stay home. And you know, just playing in front of the people that I've been playing for all my life growing up, it just means a lot. And it's just something different when you can look up and see your friends and family in the stands.
Yeah, and your brother's on the team too.
Yeah, brother's on the team. He's already there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
Well, you talked about your brother, and I'll tell you this, I'm excited to watch you play baseball at ULM. I'm also excited about Thursday night, but you know, your brother being there, I got to meet your dad. I went on a mission trip with him and your brother. When I first moved here, Ashley had just gotten sick and couldn't play softball, but I got to meet her. And I know that your family is a big part of your life. You know, you mentioned wanting to stay close to home so your family can come out and watch you, your friends can. So talk a minute about how much that has helped you with your success on and off the field, you know, the support from your family.
Well, it just really shows that people are there to watch me and encourage me to succeed. And having my dad there as like my life coach and baseball coach and football coach, he really pushes me and like nags me about going to hit and going to throw and going to work out and all this other stuff. So it's really nice having that family that can just encourage me on all the sports and everything that I do.
Yeah, it means a lot. I see your dad here at the games. He's got the earpiece in, so I know he's listening to the games.
Yep.
And he'll see me and he'll just kind of wink and wave, you know, like, leave me alone, I'm listening. So, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, he likes to get both sides, listening to you and watching the game.
Well, I don't know which one's better, but I imagine the game's much better. So fans that don't know you personally, okay, this may be their first look at you. Not everybody know, they know who you are that watches football. They may not know you personally, but they will know you by the way that you run the football. Like I mentioned, sometimes all we can do is laugh. It gets comical sometimes when you stiff arm somebody, then shed a tackle, put a spin move, then knock somebody over, and then tiptoe down the sideline and roll into the end zone, to finish the run. It's something that's we've become accustomed to seeing. Always falling forward, always finishing the play strong. But last year, there was kind of a late coming out party. You played defense, and you were part of the backbone of this defense as a sophomore and even early on as a junior. So Chad Strickland went down in the first game of the year last year, and it was like, what are we going to do for a running back? You ended up becoming the every down back, but huge year, over 1,400 total yards, over 20 touchdowns. Talk a minute about the transition from focusing on defense and unexpectedly having to focus on offense and running the ball and all that stuff. What were the challenges that came along with that?
Well, one of the things at OCS is next man up, because we're a 1A school and we don't have the numbers that all the 5A schools have. So everybody has to know their job and be ready for the next man up just in case anything happens. And I'd go through practice during the summer, practicing behind Chad, seeing him run it, like learning from him, and just coming in that first game, I was super excited to play, but not knowing that I would have to transition into a running back. So I had all my focus on defense, and it was a struggle transitioning and splitting the focus from offense and defense, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, we enjoyed watching you do that, and this year it seems like you're playing more defense early on this year. The transition is it's not brand new anymore. We know you're going to be a running back, but I've seen you a good bit on defense, which is a great thing too. I think you're listed as a free safety now instead of a strong safety, which you played last year. So that's, I look forward to Thursday night. All right, this is our last question, and then we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll come back with head coach Stephen Fitzhugh, okay? So I mentioned that you had kind of a coming out party last year. We're trying to figure out what we were going to do without our starting tailback. Once Chad got injured, against the Washita Lions last year, 148 yards rushing and 92 yards receiving. Stellar game. We were in that game, the whole time. It was the breakout game for you, and after that game, even though we were not on the winning side of the game, it was like, okay, now our offense can go, and we know that moving forward. So fast forward 1 year. This Thursday, what can fans expect to see when we go to the Lions Den on this Thursday?
Well, last year it was, I could say that our defense was struggling a little bit. We had a lot of young guys that were having to step up and play positions they've never played before. And this year, knowing that they've been in the fire and that they've played all these games and they have all the experience under their belt, that they're going to be able to step up and play that role and be able to stop or play hard.
Slow down, maybe.
Slow
hopefully,
down,
yeah.
yes, or the Washita offense. And I think our offense this year was a little iffy at first, but after those first couple games, that everybody on the offense has gained confidence in their playing ability and everybody else's, and everybody trusts everybody else. And I think it's going to be a dogfight, and that's going to be a fun game.
Okay. Do you feel like that? As I didn't write this one down. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you, but going there last year, experiencing that, and then so many returning players, senior-led team, with so many seniors with experience. Do you feel like we're in a better place going into this game, at least mentally, ready for a test like this?
Yes. Well, last year, just facing a 5A team, it was rough in the first half, knowing that, or not knowing what it would be like, but knowing that it's just a football game and we're still playing against high school guys, that we're always in the run for winning a football game. And just because they're a 5A team does not mean that we're out of anything.
Yeah, I like that approach. Well, Zach, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time with us, and I look forward to watching you on Thursday night. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with head coach Stephen Fitzhugh.
There comes a time in every dip's life when it's ready to leave the slow cooker, even buffalo chicken dip. So we put juicy chicken, buffalo sauce, and melty cheese in a portable crispy golden shell. Runaway dip, you're free now. Sonic $2.99 buffalo chicken dip bites.
Welcome back to Inside Look at Washita Christian Football. I'm here with head coach Stephen Fitzhughes. The Eagles now sit at 4-0. A great place to be. A record-setting performance last week against the Tensas Panthers, and now that matchup with the 5A Washita Lions looming. They're currently sitting at 1-3, so this Thursday we're going to play them. The story of last week's game, I mentioned it to Zach, I mentioned it to you, was adding to the win column, but the records that were broken. Okay, most points in the quarter, 42 points. Gavin has 50 or so consecutive extra points, another record. Tate had his 7th punt return for a touchdown. One of them was called back, and he had to get it later there in the first quarter. The Eagles defense held the Panthers to a negative 82 yards. All right. I know Tensas only dressed out 14 players, but all of it happened in the first quarter of play. All those records were broken in the first quarter alone. It's quite an accomplishment, I think, and quite a performance. And it's the type of performance, I believe, what you were looking for from your team in a homecoming week, overcoming that. How do you feel about your team's performance last week against Tensas?
I think they executed well, and that's what we talked about, is regardless of who we're playing each week, it's about our execution, doing things right. And, so to jump out and get 42 points right there in the first quarter shows that offense, everybody executed, did things well. Tate was able to get that return, which is big because it's one of those situations. There's probably going to be a lot of teams that will intentionally not punt to him. And then Gavin's may be the biggest record of all, just for a fact you go 50 in a row. That's hard to do because it's not just him putting it through the uprights. It's the snap, it's the hold. The ones that he had missed last year, they were blocked up the middle, and not his fault. But again, it takes all 11 to get a record like that. And so, big week, and I was proud of our guys' execution, and it was a great timing. We've had 5 grueling weeks, really. I mean, we scrimmaged Calvary, and then jamboreed with Gina, a big physical team who's undefeated already, and then we had Dallas Christian, Oak Grove, and Mansfield. And so we had 5 weeks that were very tough battles every week. And so it was good to have a homecoming week last week where starters play early on in the first quarter, and then get all the young guys in to let them have their first taste of Friday night underneath the lights. So it was a great night for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought our offense was extremely efficient. I mean, I think at one point we had run 3 plays on offense and had already scored 5 touchdowns. So all that was good to see. If we look at this game that's coming up, we rewind it to last year. Carl Dale Sermons. I mean, he'll give some people nightmares. He had a monster performance rushing the ball. He's such a dynamic player, and that really opened up things for the rest of that Washita Lions offense last year. They were able to throw the ball, run a couple fullback dives with success. Well, he's not on the team anymore. He's not part of the Washita Lion team, but I know that they have some guys that can really go. So looking back and kind of preparing this week, what are some points of emphasis that you've placed on your team going into a matchup like this?
Well, we've just emphasized again, we need to do things right, take care of the football on offense, and defensively make sure we communicate, know our assignments, and the biggest thing is we got to believe.
Yeah.
I think last year it was halftime for our guys, kind of felt like, oh, we can play with Washita. And so that's the biggest thing we've emphasized is don't go out there and wait for something to happen. Go out there and make it happen and believe from the get-go. Play with all your heart. Offense, defense, special teams, and again, we got to believe from the get-go and not wait till halftime to get a wake-up call, because although they beat us by 20, it was we were close to cutting the game to a 42-35 score right there with about 5 minutes left in the game, and so again, we've got to execute and go out there with confidence, play as a team, and do things right in every phase of the game.
Okay, so I actually like that a lot because I mentioned that to Zach, and I think even some of the kids that I've had in class talk about how, hey, we got a chance to win this game. I don't think that was a sentiment last year that was kind of widespread. People are like, oh, we're playing a 5A team. So I do want to ask you about 5A teams. The record books that I have say we were 4-2. I texted you yesterday. I can only remember 3 of the wins: Ash in 2016, Southwood in 2019. 2021, and then Denham, yep, in 2019, 2020,
yeah.
COVID year. And then the 2 losses: Ash in 2015 and Washita last year. So it's 1A versus 5A. Is that something that you use to motivate and inspire? We have a winning record against 5A teams, or do you take the Hoosiers approach? Hey, it's 11 people, it's 100 yards. Like
we take the Hoosiers approach. I mean, it's 11 on 11, and that's what I told them is they may have more students in school, more on their football team, but they're going to put 11 guys on the football field just like we are every single play. And so again, it comes down to we got to execute. Each person individually has to do their job, because I tell you, that's the complexity of football is for the offensive play to work. You can't have 10 out of 11. You got to have 11 out of 11. Same thing defensively. If one person goes to the wrong gap, then leaves a big hole that the running back can make it through. And so, again, so it, what we've talked about is this is opportunity. There's not a whole lot of opportunities that you get to play from a 1A to a 5A school. It just does not happen much. And so we have an opportunity ahead of us to pull off the upset, to pull off the win over the team. And, certainly it would tremendously boost your power points as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a question about that in just a minute. But before we get there, I want to look a little bit ahead, not too far ahead, but a week from tomorrow, a week from Thursday, we play our first district game against the Warriors of St. Fred's. Okay, so as a coach, are you saying, what do you set as your priority? Is it like, hey, this game's our most important game? Or do you say, hey, our district game's coming up, we need to make sure that we're healthy and good to go against that game? I think I know the answer, but I just wanted to ask you.
No,
anyway.
we're going to line up to win. I mean, that's what we're going to do each and every week. And again, we've been in some battles already this year. Again, Gina and Dallas Christian and Oak Grove, Mansfield. I mean, we have played some big physical kids already this year. And, tomorrow night's not going to be any different. We're playing a big physical Washita team. And our goal is to go out there and get better, play our best football game that we played. Every week is test week. And this is our test for the week. So we're playing to win, and again, go out there and get better.
Yeah, good answer right there. So, all right, so last season, in this game, we never had the lead in the game. The game starts off, Washita gets the ball, they go down, and we get a stop to start the game off. And then we get the ball back. And it would have been nice at that point if we could put points on the board, put them, where they have to play from behind, deviate from their game plan, because they were able to execute their game plan. It ended up being 48-28, 76 total points scored in that game, 48 by them. So this season, the Eagle defense is averaging less than a touchdown per game, giving up less than a touchdown per game, under 7 points per game. So we kind of got this brewing storm going on. We look at last year's game, their offensive output. This year's defense, is a really stiff defense. Do you feel like that's a favorable matchup for us going into this game?
There again, it comes down, we got to make tackles. And, line up correctly. With Stacy and Ben, Reed Messengers come back out. Reed has done an outstanding job for us, at nose guard. A lot of people may not realize how important that job is, but he occupies blocks that allow our linebackers to run. So while he may not be getting a lot of tackles, he's doing what he's supposed to do to allow the linebackers to get tackles. But again, they got a big line. We've got a big defensive line. And it's just going to be, again, a matchup of making sure that we play assignment football. I think the thing that's really helped us this year defensively is don't give up the big play. Last year we gave up several big plays against Washita. This year I think the biggest play we've given up, we gave up a long pass versus Dallas Christian of about 40 yards, and then Mansfield had about a 40-yard run, and on each of those we can say, hey, here's what we could have done differently. And so I think that's the key for us defensively is do not give up the big play. Make them earn every yard that they get.
Excuse me. I think that's you know, kind of what I was thinking. We've leaned on our defense, and I don't think we have a problem with doing that in the game. So the last topic I want to talk about is the Washita Lions now sit at 1-3. Their lone win came against the Archbishop Rummel team, which was kind of a surprise win, I think, for a lot of people. Didn't expect that. But you mentioned the difficulty of our schedule. They play a grueling schedule. And if you look at their remaining opponents, they have unbeaten West Washita, Neville. Is that right? No, West Monroe.
Neville already.
Yep. West Monroe and Ruston. So all those three teams are unbeaten. Then they have Alexandria and Pineville. I would say that if you were looking at that, you would favor the Lions only one more game. So when it comes to people think that if you play a 5A team, it's just going to help you with the playoff, you know, with your power points automatically. It's not the case if they only win one or two games, which makes this game. It makes it more important to win this game. So you're going into this game to win. So tell us how much a win will propel us when it comes to our power points and our playoff position.
Well, you know, you're looking at to win the game, you're going to get at least 20 points for the win. If we come up short, we'll get, you know, I think last year we got 13 points for losing to them, which to put things in perspective, we only get 10 points for beating Tensall. And so, you know, when we scheduled this game, it was a win-win situation for both of us. You know, that if they were to lose, they get, you know, 9 or 10 power points from us, and if they were to win, they'd get, you know, 19 to 18, 19 power points. And so, you know, again, winning it throws you up there into the 20s, which is hard to do. You know, if we were to come up short like last year, it's the same. Again, we got more points losing to them last year than we did for beating Tensall and maybe another team that had only won one or two games. But bottom line is we want to get better.
Yeah.
Bottom line is we've got to get better each and every week, and our goal is to continue to progress and then be playing our best, you know, when week 10 gets here right before the playoffs. And so, again, that's our focus is it's not a you know, do or die situation.
Right.
We're going out there to play our best game, and again, get better this week.
Yeah, it's not a do or die for either team, and I was trying to explain that to somebody today, and so I just wanted the people who are watching to kind of understand how that looks, where a win can really do some good for both teams, but it's not gonna put you too far behind the curve if you're on the short end of things. So it's a good game for us. Washita could get a couple more wins, but it's going to be tough for them, and then we start our district play next week. So, Coach, I want to thank you again for coming on here. It's starting to get hot out here. It doesn't feel like fall weather right now. I think we're sitting at around 90, 93, 94 degrees on this turf at least. And I want to remind everybody that Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Lion Stadium, Washita Christian versus Washita Paris High School. The undefeated Eagles make the short trip to take on the 5A Washita Lions. So it's going to be a great atmosphere. Make sure you stop by Sonic Drive-In on 165 at North Monroe to pick up a snack or drink on your way to the game. Thanks for watching.